Welcome back for the first time, probably, since this is my very first video. Today we're going to be doing Reddit reading on r/ I don't work here, lady. Let's get right into it. This actually happened about a week or so ago, and I've been too busy studying for finals. So sorry some of this conversation is a bit foggy for me. So me and my mom drove to Target because she needed a new charging cord for her phone, and I needed condoms. Still a virgin, but the Boy Scout motto is always be prepared. I was wearing black jeans with a red shirt I got at a Mike Kroll concert. This is important because at Target near my house, employees wear khaki pants, red shirts with a large Target logo on the back and a name tag. Anyway, I was in the aisle looking at what kind of condoms I should get when I hear a low voice say, "Excuse me," behind me, so I stand up and turn around to see this man with his young daughter, maybe 12 or 13. This was the following conversation. "Excuse me, can you help us?" Sure, what do you need?" "Well, my daughter had her first period and I was wondering if you know where the pads are." I think they're in the next aisle over." "Alright, thank you." So after he left, I pick out my condoms and realized I was almost out of shaving cream, which just so happens to be in the same aisle as the pads. I walk in and just before I grab the shaving cream, I hear the man say, "Excuse me" again. "Excuse me, can you help us again?" "Sure, what's up?" "Do you know which pads are the best?" I'm not sure. If you try asking someone who works here, they might be able to help you better." "But you work here." "No, I don't. I'm just grabbing some stuff for home." "But I saw you restocking the condoms over there. Just do your job and help us." "I'm sorry, but I don't work here." I proceed to grab my shaving cream and find my mom. A little while later, I was near the checkout with my mom waiting in line when I hear the man's voice. "There, that's the person who denied us service." Store manager: "Sir, he doesn't work here." "Bullshit, I saw him restocking the condoms." "I'm sorry, sir, but he really doesn't work here. He's not wearing an employee uniform." "Bullshit, you're lying. I want him fired immediately." "Sir, if you don't calm down, I'm going to have to ask you to leave." The guy then proceeds to walk out yelling about the store's horrible customer service, dragging his daughter along behind him. I really feel bad for the daughter because she seemed really nice and was probably really embarrassed about the whole situation. Dude, I'd be so uncomfortable if some guy was asking me about pads for his daughter. Next up, I'm not his nurse. Not a typical IDWH host. Happened at a wedding for a very close friend. Friend has cerebral palsy, and for a while I worked as his aide. Basically got paid to hang out the way we would anyway. So he gets married out of state, and I fly out to be his best lady. Best man, but I'm obviously female. I wore a pretty dress, gave a toast and everything. We were surprised that I was not in one wedding picture, except from other wedding party things from the venue. Couldn't figure out why I kept getting shooed by the photographer, until one of the family members made a comment later in the night. "Your friend's nurse, right? That's great you flew out here for work." Joined by the nods from their family. Everyone thought I was his assistive staff, despite being in the program, giving a toast. All assumed the title was to hide the fact that he needed help. I want to say when we think of that, we laugh, but it's more of a long sigh and reflection on how much people suck. This is kind of stupid. Girl goes out of her way, flies across the country to be in this guy's wedding, and gets treated like the help. Nah. Next up we have, "I'm sorry, I'm not working today, ma'am." Tales from the paintball field. First ever Reddit post. Apologies if this story isn't particularly interesting or for excessive rambling. Sometime in summer 2018, if memory serves, I was employed part-time at a paintball field in Tennessee. It was a weekend job and it didn't pay much, but it was a fun side job and I enjoyed it. Today was a busy day, but for once I wasn't there to play. I'd called ahead and gotten the okay from my boss. I showed up dressed in a black t-shirt, shorts with a bandolier for extra paint, and also serving as a makeshift holster for my pistol in my hands. In my hands I carried my primary weapon, an old beat-up Tipman carbine. Having been rather busy weekend, around 50 to 60 people had showed up already, including a small number of groups with small children. I guess around 8 to 12 years in age. Being a regular employee and having rather distinctive long red hair, wasn't long before a woman, likely one of the mothers of the small children, recognized me. As it turned out, they'd been having some trouble. They'd called ahead and made their reservation several days prior prepaying for their gear, including several of the 50 caliber low impact paintball guns. For those of you not familiar with paintball, low impact paint guns are models that fire smaller, lighter projectiles, often at a slightly lower velocity in order to reduce the ouch factor upon being hit. Although our field primarily uses standard 68 caliber standard paintball guns, we do keep a smaller number of 50 caliber markers for groups with young children. The issue for this group with young children arose when they realized that nearly half their group either did not show up or did not want to play. We don't mix low impact groups and standard groups for numerous reasons, the most prominent of which being that it would defeat the whole purpose of them using low impact guns, as the people shooting at them would still be using the standard and rather painful 68 caliber paint guns. This group was left with only a handful of young children badly wanting to play, perhaps 2 to 3 of them, not nearly enough for a property game. Yet we couldn't mix them in with another group. Then something miraculous happened. I had an idea. The following is about as close to a reasonable recreation of the conversation as my shoddy memory allows for. Woman: young man, my kids don't have anyone to play with. Could you put us in with another group? Sorry, ma'am. I'm not working here today. But you do work here, don't you? I've seen you here before. I don't see anyone else here to help us. Yes, I've worked here before. I'm sorry, but I trailed off at this point and thought brewing in my mind. The woman continued on, seemingly less annoyed and more worried, perhaps even a bit desperate that her children weren't having enough fun, since they had perhaps 3 players total and couldn't play with any other groups. I then proposed my idea to her. Ma'am, I think I have an idea. I'm going to ask the boss something. Could you please wait here? I quickly ran into the small building where we kept all the paintball gear, as well as the cash register. The owner of the field, also my boss, was there filling CO2 tanks. I explained the situation to him. There were rather short on referees that day, and he was quite busy himself. Less than 5 minutes later, I walked back out of the building towards the mother and her children, bright blue pump-action paintball shotgun in my hands. She smiled, and so did I, although she couldn't see it through my mask. Already on my face, ready to play, I motioned to her children, then towards the nearest paintball field. They hesitated for a moment before leaping up excitedly, paintball guns in hand, and dashed onto the field. Less than a minute later, I was being bombarded with a hail of paintballs being fired from several very excited children with decidedly poor aim, but plenty of speed and enthusiasm to make up for it. We played numerous games over the course of about an hour and a half. I didn't hold back. Not that I particularly had to. They were small, fast, and had numbers on their side. Also, they had semi-automatic paintball guns, and I had a colorful piece of vaguely shotgun-shaped plastic with a spring in it capable of launching paintballs with all the energy of a half-heartedly flung piece of poo. We soon lost track of who won more rounds, but it was close thing every time, and every one of the children managed to nail me at least once. They were all plenty happy, and despite this not being quite the day I imagined, when I came to the field ready to play, I was having fun. By the end of it all, we were all exhausted, both from high-energy bouts of paint warfare and the blazing hot Tennessee summer heat. It was not common for referees to earn tips, but it does happen. When the children and I stumbled off the field for the final time, the smiling mother handed me a $20 bill and thanked me for my time. I initially refused, but she insisted. I helped them turn in their equipment, did the same for the brightly colored paint flinger I had borrowed for free, paint included. He was thankful and tried to offer to pay me, but I instead settled for some free pizza. Not every I Don't Work Here Lady story needs to have a nasty conclusion. Sometimes things just work out, especially if calm, rational people are able to come to a conclusion that benefits everyone. Perhaps I'm the exception, but I find the story to be more memorable than any of the rude parents or drunken customers. If you made it here, thank you very much. If you could just give this video a like and maybe subscribe, that would be great. Again, this was my first video, so if there's any questions, comments, concerns, just let me know down in the comments, because I really don't know what I'm doing. Alright, thank you very much, and bye.